On this edition of Gameball College Kickoff, we're going to be doing a recap of what happened last week's matchup. How did Miami versus Virginia fare out? And how did Wisconsin-Michigan matchup fare out? Will Wisconsin win streak continue? Also, how did Oklahoma State fare against Kansas State? Was a little too late to come back for a win? We're going to be talking about those matchups. Also, we're going to get into the college football playoff rankings that came out earlier Tuesday. We're going to get into that. Also, we got Week 13 matchups and predictions we're going to be talking about. So don't go anywhere. Game Ball College Kickoff Podcast starts now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Game Ball College Kickoff Podcast, where the football season never ends. I'm your host, Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
We're going to be doing a recap of what happened in Week 12, and we're also going to get to the college football playoff rankings. Did the committee get it right? And the third part of the debate, we're going to be getting to Week 13's matchups and predictions. So let's get into it with a recap. Michigan versus Wisconsin. Michigan 10, Wisconsin 24. Brandon Peters 8 of 18, 157 yards. Chris Evans 11 rushes, 25 yards. Donovan Peoples-Jones 4 catches, 64 yards. Total offense 234 yards with 13 first downs. Time of possessions 28 minutes 15 seconds with 1 turnover. Defense 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 1 INT. Alex Hornibrook 9 of 19, a buck 34, 1 TD, 1 INT. Jonathan Taylor, 19 rushes, a buck 32. AJ Traylor, 3 catches, 79 yards, 1 TD. Total offense, 325 yards with 14 first downs. Time of possessions, 31 minutes, 45 seconds with 1 turnover. Defense, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and 1 fumble recovery. How would you rate this matchup and break it down?
Well, compared to last year's 14-7 game, it was a shootout at the OK Corral. 24-10 is going to be a bit of a high-scoring game for these two teams anymore.
And you about called a close one of the predictions when you made it last week.
My picks were close last week. Yes. You saw Wisconsin was able to run the pump back. They gave up the 1 touchdown to Michigan, right before halftime, or mid-second quarter, and they just kind of kept them at arm's length. They weren't flashy, but that's never been Wisconsin football. Even going back to the Barry Alvarez days, the Bielema days, I guess the 1 year they had Russell Wilson there. A little bit of flash that year, made the Rose Bowl, lost to Oregon, but I mean it's vintage Wisconsin football.
Well, it's not sexy, but they play smash mouth physical football. They get in your face and give it to you. Offense, they are continuing to progress and do better. And Hornibrook did an okay job minimizing the turnovers. He had 1 interception compared to 3 he had the previous game, but he's getting better and better. This is a run offensive team first, then throw a little short passes here and there, but they run, they ground and pound. The offensive line is beating up and bully people. So they are doing a good job of protecting quarterback in the pocket and also creating the holes in the running game for the running back go through as well. And the defense does not get enough credit. In my opinion, this is one of the underrated defenses in the country. Don't have big name talent, but they play together, and the coaches give them to play together, and they're buying to what the coaches are doing, and that's helping out. If you get players to do that, they'll play hard for you and go out winning games for you. And the Wisconsin just keep rolling and rolling and making their case that it should be in the college football playoff picture at the end. And what Michigan offense is, the quarterback is the Achilles heel right now. He's not giving to the players to make plays. I mean, they didn't have a turnover on the interception part, but you got to take chances down the field. You got to call some play actions and stuff like that. You got to get the running game going. And defense has been falling off last few games. Ever since that loss to Penn State, or their first loss of the season, which was against Michigan State, they just falling off the cliff. They giving up yards after yards and not really punishing people like they normally do. So if they can go back and correct their mistakes and go and get it together, then the Michigan defense can be a force. But the offensive side, in my opinion, is the lack of depth of quarterback, talent-wise. So if they could get that figured out and fixed, they'll be okay. But the quarterback is Michigan's offensive Achilles heel. So we're going to recap is Miami versus Virginia. Miami will lead the score of 44-28. Kurt Beneke, 28 of 37, 384 yards, 4 TDs, 1 INT. Olawumi Zaccheaus, 5 rushes for 29 yards. Joe Ree, 2 catches, 81 yards, 1 TD. Total offense, 439 yards with 18 first downs. Time of possession, 32 minutes, 27 seconds with 3 turnovers. Defense had 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Virginia led at one point 28-14, but gave up 30 points in the second half to lose that game. Malik Roser, 15 of 28, 210 yards, 3 TDs, 2 INTs. Travis Homer, 17 rushes, 96 yards, 1 TD. Ahmad Richards, 4 catches, 51 yards, 1 TD. Total offense, 358 yards with 15 first downs. Time of possessions, 27 minutes, 33 seconds with 2 turnovers. Defense, 2 forced fumble recoveries, 1 INT for a touchdown, another interception, 5 sacks, and 11 tackles for loss. Was down by 14 points, 28-14, but scored 30 unanswered points to win that game. Let's break this down.
I'm not going to say it went exactly as I thought it would. I called Miami to win by 18. They won by 16. I did call for them to have that one monumental play in the second half that would swing momentum. That was the pick six that knotted it at 28. I did not expect them to be down 14-0, however. I did not expect them to be down at halftime. I thought they'd be up a touchdown at halftime, actually. And but no, it was they got that one play. I was able to get that old Orange Bowl crowd behind them, like the late 80s, early 90s, the turn of the century, whatever else. They got that one play by the turnover chain gang and tied the score and just never looked back.
I agree. The Miami was sluggish in the first half, offense and defensively. They gave up a touchdown early, and on special teams, they got a turnover over that. That sparked the momentum. Then they scored a touchdown off of that, so turnover points. Then they gave up a big 72-yard or 75-yard touchdown pass. Then that kind of quieted down. Then they came back and scored and tied the game at one point. Then Virginia scored a touchdown in the second half. Then they scored another touchdown to be up by 14 points. Then somehow, someway, the coaches got in the face of the players and starting to give them the play hard. Come on, do your assignments. Showing up, they did. They got turnovers, made into points, and Miami never looked back. They was able to put pressure on the quarterback, was able to stop them from scoring more points. At the end, Miami was able to outplay Virginia in the second half by making more plays to win that game. If you're Virginia, you got to keep your foot on the pedal. You can't relax against this team. You're on the road. You're trying to get an upset win. You had your chance at one point, but they failed to finish that and gave up 30 unanswered points in the second half. So that led them to the loss. they should learn from this going forward. When a talented team like that, especially a top 5 team, if you want to win, you gotta pedal to the metal and pound and be physical and wear them out. If you able to do that, you able to win that game. All right, next matchup: Georgia versus Kentucky. Georgia will beat the brakes off of Kentucky 42 to 13. Stephen Johnson, 12 of 22, 138 yards. Benny Shell Jr., 22 carries, 94 yards, 1 TD. Blake Bone, 1 catch, 45 yards. Total offense, 262 yards with 1 turnover. Time of possession, 29 minutes, 40 seconds with 17 first downs. Defense, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 INT. Jake Fromm, 9 of 14, 123 yards, 1 TD, 1 INT. Nick Chubb, 15 rushes, a buck 51, 2 TDs. Javon Williams, 6 catches, 83 yards, 1 TD. Total offense, 504 yards with 25 first downs. Time of possession, 30 minutes, 20 seconds with 1 turnover. Defense, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 INT. Let's break this recap down.
There's a few things you see almost every week in college football. Going back to the Miami game, they had that huge night game win over a top 5 team. They followed it the next Saturday. Home game was an early kick. They're going to struggle for a half. On the flip side of that, you almost always see that one top 5, top 10 team. They get humbled. They have that next game the following week. They struggle for that first half too. It was a 14-6 game at halftime, which I suspected to be one score either way. And it was just a matter of time before Georgia would flex their muscle. Miami needed the first half to kind of come down from their high. Georgia needed the first half to get up off the mat.
Exactly. It was a little sluggish part of Georgia. Then they woke up out of their shell and start playing Georgia football, start running the ball effectively, and Jake Fromm was consistent in the passing game except for that 1 interception. You would have those occasionally, but he was and excuse me, consistent in the passing game. And the defense was able to get back to that Georgia Bulldog defense, just attack the other offenses, putting pressure on the quarterback, mixing up blitzes, stopping the run, forces the other offense to beat you in the passing game. And that's what Georgia did. Ever since that loss against Auburn, they just took that to heart, and they went out, took care of business, and beat the brakes off Kentucky. Nothing against Kentucky, but I kind of figured that blowout was going to happen eventually.
Now, Kentucky's a good team too. They're 7-4. They can win 9 games with the win over Louisville in a bowl game.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing against Kentucky.
Yeah, but for a Kentucky program, that's huge.
That is for a football program. They are a good team, but against Georgia, I didn't expect them to win at all. And I expected it was a blowout, which that happened. So Georgia was the better team and got the blowout win and got the W. All right, last and final matchup we're going to recap is Oklahoma State versus Kansas State. Oklahoma State at home will lose to Kansas State of 40 to 45. Skylar Thompson, 10 of 13, 204 yards with 3 touchdowns. Skylar Thompson, 17 rushes, 93 yards and 1 TD. So overall, he had 297 yards total offense with 4 total touchdowns. Byron Pringle, 4 catches, a buck 66, 3 TDs. He looks like he found his favorite target.
And a kickoff return.
I was getting ready to get there. 89-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Pringle. He was balling on offense and special teams. Total offense, 421 yards with 18 first downs. Time of possession, 35 minutes, 1 second with 1 turnover. Led at one point 42 to 13, but gave up a lot of points to Oklahoma State. They would eventually hold on to win. Defense, 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 2 INTs. Oklahoma side, Mason Rudolph, 32, 53, 425 yards, 3 TDs, 2 INTs. Justice Hill, 23 rushes, 91 yards, 1 TD. James Washington, 8 catches, a buck 59, 2 TDs. Total offense 510 yards with 30 first downs. Time of possession 24 minutes and 59 seconds. 2 turnovers. Defense 3 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery. Scored 28 unanswered points late in the second half, but fell short in the loss to Kansas State. Let's break this matchup.
Oh, Skylar Thompson didn't look like a third-string freshman, that's for sure. And the one thing that's kind of hampered Byron Pringle in his now his second year at K-State has been a case of the drops, and he could have 4 touchdowns every game he hangs onto the ball.
Exactly. So is Skylar Thompson the quarterback of the future for Kansas State going forward? After his performance against Oklahoma State Saturday, are you willing to go there, or are you willing to pump the brakes and let him play out some more?
I think he's almost got to be ahead of Delton on the depth chart from here on out. That includes the offseason going into next year as well. Jesse Ertz has been ruled out for the year now with another knee injury. He suffered a knee injury the first played from scrimmage in 2015. So this is his second knee injury. Skylar Thompson throws a big league ball. Has a big arm on him, nice trajectory, can throw underneath, can throw the deep route. As soon as he understands how to read a defense, like a Division I quarterback, sky's the limit for him.
Exactly. He just got to take advantage of this opportunity in these moments and not look back. And this is what K-State need. They need to get back to that ground and pound, well-balanced offense, substitute that with the passing game, and that's what they did, and that's how they won the game. And special teams, Kansas State is one of the best in the nation at special teams. They are very disciplined. They're in the top 5 or top 10 category in special teams, yards and touchdowns as well on the kickoff and punt return side. Pringle had a hell of a game. I mean, he was balling. 4 catches, 166 yards with 3 TDs, 89 yards. Kickoff return for a TD, 4 total TDs, and over 200 yards of total offense, including the special teams touchdown. What more can you ask for? The defense gave up big plays. They led 42-13 at one point, but you have to be aggressive. You can't put
And watching the game, that lead didn't feel safe.
Exactly.
Even in lifetime, that lead didn't feel safe.
Exactly. I was going to get to that point. The defense has to do a better job of closing out games. You can't relax. You have to put your foot on the metal. You got to play more physical. You got to be aggressive. Call some different plays with aggression and force Oklahoma State to make it turnovers and keep on their heels on offense, because they about lost this game, if I'm correct. They about lost this game, and the defense was able to make more plays, but this is a learning curve that Bill Snyder is going to get on his team about. We can't blow leads like this. So, good job to Kansas State for the win, but Bill Snyder wasn't pleased in the second half of the performance.
Oh, well, Snyder's got some coaching adjustments to make, too. He likes to have that running quarterback, which isn't Skylar Thompson's game at all. He likes to have that extra blocker. And without a feature running back, they got some changes to make.
I agree. All right, Oklahoma State. They was getting annihilated in the first part of the game, the first 3.5 quarters. They was sluggish. It seems like there was no fight there until they start rolling 28 unanswered points, but then fell short. So what was Oklahoma State's downfall in this loss to Kansas State?
K-State's always just been a matchup nightmare for Oklahoma State. For whatever the rhyme or reason is, I don't want to say Snyder has Gundy's number because Oklahoma State's won their fair share of games. It's been, I'm not sure what it's been over the last 10 years. I'm going to guess 6-4 one way or the other. Probably 500, I'd imagine. But even when Oklahoma State wins, K-State just matches up with them.
Oh, yeah. They match up very well. It always comes down to the wire, the last play. If Oklahoma State was able to eliminate the turnovers on offense, able to make a few more plays and score a few more touchdowns or a touchdown and field goal, they probably would have won this game. And their defense has been their concern because they are giving up a lot of points. And they're almost giving up over 100 yards a rushing game. And they secondary is being beat up every time. So they have to get better in that category. If they can fix those problems, then they can be able to be better and be more physical. It's cost them games and it's cost them out of the college football playoff picture, and it's definitely cost them the not being the Big 12 championship. So those is things that Oklahoma State has to work on going forward is their defense and get healthy. If they can do that, they can be a legit team to win it all and possibly get into the college football playoff. And that will do it for the first part of Gameball College Kickoff podcast debate. And when we come back, we're going to get into the college football playoff rankings. Did the committee get it right for now? We'll get into that debate only on Gameball College Football podcast where the football season never ends. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball College Kickoff Podcast for the football season never ends. Segment 2, we're going to get to the college football playoff ranking that just came out Tuesday, and here are the top 4 teams. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Miami. Number 3, Clemson. Number 4, Oklahoma. Did the committee get it right for now?
I think at this point I'd have Wisconsin in the top 4 in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I think I would. It's hard to say. I mean, if they're going to be in there, you got to take one out. I think I'd bump Oklahoma out for the time being. Give them a chance to prove themselves against West Virginia, and then another game against TCU. A week from now, but a week and a half. But I say put them ahead of Oklahoma because even though Clemson, I think, had a quote-unquote worse loss, Kelly Bryant did get hurt that game, and they played the majority of the game with the backup quarterback there. So I think I have Wisconsin. I think I flip-flop Wisconsin and Oklahoma right now.
For right now, they got it right. Until more chaos comes into place, this upcoming week you got Alabama versus Auburn, you got Clemson versus South Carolina, you got Miami playing another team, you got Oklahoma playing this team, which is West Virginia, then you got Wisconsin playing against another team and trying to prove themselves. So for right now, yes, they got it right, but we never know. Could this be the year that the college football playoff may have 2 conferences with 2 losses in the college football playoff? Could be that year would be this year?
I was actually talking about this with someone the other day. There's a scenario where we could have 4 teams from 2 conferences. I'm not going to take the time to explain all the chaos that have to happen. Wisconsin would have to lose. But if Clemson beats Miami, they both finish with 1 loss. Georgia beats Alabama, they both finished with 1 loss. And TCU beats Oklahoma, giving them both 2 losses. You'd have Georgia, Alabama, Miami, and Clemson all with 1 loss from the ACC and the SEC.
Yeah. Well,
plausible.
That is possible. Well, for Wisconsin, they just have to keep rolling and win out. If Wisconsin wins out and wins the Big Ten championship, automatic, there should be no ifs, ands, or buts. There shouldn't be 2 teams from the same conference in there, and one of them loses the conference championship. That's not right to the other conferences who are trying to get in and will still have that same question, the same politics. Will one team loss that did not win the conference should be in? We won't know. It's just so much chaos is going on and all that. has to happen. So it's gonna be a chaos weekend. We'll find out and see will the dominate teams continue to win or would they lose. So everything has to play out how it is, and worst case scenario, it's gonna be more chaos to come up. So that's just my opinion. For right now, the committee got it right, but I wouldn't put Miami over Clemson just yet. I mean, they are balling, but over Clemson, eh, that's kind of giving the spotlight a little too early. It could be a good thing, it could also be a bad thing with a curse. But we'll see how Miami is handling it. They balled out and played well, but there's still more tests for Miami to pass in the upcoming weeks leading to the college football playoff and to the championship conferences. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that will do it for the second part of the debate. And when we come back, we're going to get to the final segment. We're going to get into Week 13's matchups and prediction right here only on Gameball College Kickoff Podcast where the football season never ends. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball College Kickoff Podcast, where the football season never ends. We're going to get to the final debate. That is Week 13's matchups and predictions. It's rivalry week. Two teams that hate each other for years. They've been going at it back and forth. So let's see how this goes. Let's get into it. Ohio State versus Michigan, the one of the most hated rivalries in the game. Alabama versus Auburn, another hatred rivalry. Clemson versus South Carolina, and another hatred rivalry that's been going on for years. Notre Dame versus Stanford. Let's break down Ohio State versus Michigan.
Games in Ann Arbor, so I guess the Wolverines are gonna have a prayer in that regard.
They're still feeling bitter about that loss last year, and especially on that 4th-and-1 controversy call with J.T. Barrett. Thought they had a first down. Instead, he had the ball with the left hand instead of had the right hand, and they gave him the first down, which they stopped him for. So that's got to be a motivation for Michigan. And plus, they are home with the home ground crowd, and home field advantage plays off. But the question is the quarterback on the offense willing to deliver against Ohio State's stingy defense?
I don't know that Michigan has the quarterback play to hang with Ohio State for 4 quarters. We'll find out Saturday. Though Harbaugh will make the adjustments necessary. Their defense will give them a shot, and it'll be a 1-score game come 4th quarter.
It's going to be a very when it comes to rivalries, it's always a close game. No matter what the record is, you could be 1-15, 0-11, something like that, or 12-1, or 10-3. Rivalry games always come down to the wire. So if the Michigan defense can step up and stop Ohio State's offense and keep them in check, and the offense keep rolling, then they're able to put points and win this game. But they have to score touchdowns instead of field goals. Field goals is not an option. You have to score touchdowns on almost every possession and be mistake free. If you can do that, you can win this game. For Ohio State, just keep running the ball, keep the chains moving, and melt that clock. Also, defense, you want to put in different schemes and cause chaos for the young quarterback coming in and throw in some other plays as well. If Ohio State can do that, They'll be able to win this game. All right, let's get to the next matchup. Alabama versus Auburn. Let's break this down.
The Iron Bowl at Auburn. Going to be strength versus strength on this one. Alabama's defense, once again, one of the best in the nation. Auburn says, "Here we come, stop us."
But Alabama is dealing with injuries at that linebacker spot, but they got a coach that can overcome it and the next man step up. But how would it be affecting this game?
The guys that have out there are equally talented as the guys that are hurt right now too. They're just lacking a little bit of experience. They'll be prepared. They'll be well coached. They'll be in position. They'll be there to make the plays. Will they or won't they? That's the question.
And the last few times that Auburn's played Alabama, they have lost consecutively. So this is a big deal for Auburn. This is make it or break it.
They haven't won since the kick six, and I haven't won before that since he came back.
Exactly. So everything is on the line for Auburn. A spot at the SEC championship game, possibly a college playoff berth. So and they got the home field advantage with that crowd noise and all that. So everything matters for Auburn. So there's a lot of pressure going for Auburn. Alabama just playing with house money, but they're going to be pressure too because if they don't win, they're not going to the SEC championship game. So there's pressure for both teams. Alabama, there's pressure, but they're still playing with a little bit of house money. Auburn, everything matters. Everything. Offense has to show up. Defense has to show up, especially. Alabama's defense has to show up and stop Auburn's running attack and force Auburn to beat you in the passing game because the quarterback is a hit and miss sometimes. So it's going to be one of those games that comes down to the last play at the very end. It could be offensive play, defensive play, special teams. It always comes down to the wire when these two teams play. It's going to be a fun, exciting matchup, and I can't wait to watch.
Auburn's got to score touchdowns. They lost 30-12 last year. They scored 4 times. They were all field goals though. They scored touchdowns right there in that game last year.
Exactly. So that's the key part for Auburn's offense. Can they score more touchdowns against Alabama's defense? That really hasn't been done recent years, but can they do it? We'll find out and see. Next matchup we're going to get into is Clemson versus South Carolina.
South Carolina quietly 8-3 this year. They have what's looking to be a very impressive opening day win over North Carolina State. They've been a little bit better than advertised this year as well. Clemson got a 56-7 last year. The game's in Columbia this year. 2 years ago, Clemson went into Columbia as an undefeated team. Deshaun Watson as the year they lost to Alabama in the championship game, and South Carolina gave them hell that game. The mismatch, the last 2 years was equally in Clemson's favor. That home field, I think they lost 25-17. They was right there with the mid-fourth quarter. At Clemson last year, they got absolutely rocked. Again, they're 8-3 this year. They're at home. Not a cakewalk for Clemson by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and this could possibly be a trap game for Clemson.
It's the biggest game of the weekend that nobody's talking about.
Exactly. So Clemson has to be very careful. They cannot afford to lose this game. They'll be in the ACC championship game eventually, but if they lose this game, North Carolina State is out of it, so just squash that. They have to win this week. They can't overlook South Carolina. South Carolina is going to give them all they got. So if they go and take care of business and play Clemson football like they can, they'll win this game. But North Carolina has to do something to beat Clemson, something that they never seen before. On the offensive side, throw some little wrinkles, some plays that never ran before here and there. Throw some reverses, throw a flea flicker here and there, something to catch Clemson defense off guard. Because Clemson's defense is well coached by one of the best defensive coordinators in Vanderbilt. He's going to get these boys ready. So if North Carolina offense can score touchdowns against Clemson's defense, then we'll have another upset. But can the South Carolina's defense be able to stop Clemson's offense? because every time you think you got him, all of a sudden 60 yards for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to be able to stop them and play 4 quarters of defense to win that game.
Cox haven't won since Clowney was there. They're overdue.
Exactly. Last matchup we're going to get to is Notre Dame versus Stanford. Let's break that matchup.
Oh, both teams really playing for pride right here. Stanford could, I believe that game kicks off a half hour either way of the Apple Cup. So Stanford is well, it's a non-conference game for them. They're playing for there's a lot to play for. Should Washington State beat Washington? I believe Washington State is in the Pac-12 championship game. You said, and what would be a rematch of USC game Washington State won earlier this year. However, Washington cannot make the Pac-12 championship game. They can prevent their Apple Cup rival from going though. Washington, whenever Washington State gets Stanford in there. Now back to this matchup. Notre Dame, if Notre Dame wins, they'll finish 10-2. They won't be in the playoff. They'll be in a New Year's Six bowl though. Undoubtedly.
Never say never being a college football player, because there could be a lot of chaos going to this weekend. So they're technically out, but not all the way out. They're on the outside looking in. They're going to need some real help for them to get into the college football playoff. So I'm excited to see this matchup and all that. And for Notre Dame, they, like you said, they are playing for pride. Can the defense get back to the dominance like it once was? And the offense, can it be more physical like it once was? If they can do that on both sides of the ball and play good on special teams, then they'll be able to win this game. But you have to stop the running game of Stanford. And
exactly. I worry about Notre Dame because Navy, for the most part, was able to run it well on them, and Navy has nobody near the caliber of Bryce Love on their team.
Exactly. So if the defense can stop the running game and force Stanford's quarterback to beat them with the passing game, then Notre Dame has a shot to win at this game. For Stanford, just ground and pound and have some consistency in the passing game and block well in the running game and pass protect the quarterback in the passing game. And defense, you have to stop Notre Dame's running game and force them to be a passing game to beat you a one-dimensional offense. If Stanford can do that, they'll be able to win this game. All right, it's time for predictions. So, Ohio State versus Michigan. Who you got?
I got Ohio State in this one, 27-17. It's going to be, like I said, probably a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. 14-10, 17-10 Ohio State. They will separate themselves mid-fourth quarter, win by 10.
I've been struggling with this one. And it's a toss-up here and there. But I'm going to go with the home team in Michigan. They're long overdue against Ohio State. They felt like last year they was robbed out of the college football playoff with that one play. And they want their revenge back. They smell blood and they can see it. And this year is their time to beat Ohio State and for bragging rights and all that. This is for pride. This is Michigan football. It's going to be a close, tight game throughout all the game, but I feel like Michigan is going to come to play and make more plays. I'm going to say the score of 24-21, Michigan wins. Alabama versus Auburn. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with War Eagle in this one.
War Eagle.
Minus the LSU game, Alabama beat LSU. Auburn did not. Minus that game, Auburn's been much more impressive against with common opponents than Alabama has.
Well, with that early loss against Clemson, which they overcame, and another loss as well, Auburn's just been rolling on all cylinders. It's going to be a dogfight to the finish, but I feel like Auburn is a better team to win this game. I think Auburn's defense is going to make enough plays to win this game. They have the personnel and the players to stop Alabama's offense and force Jalen Hurts to beat them in the passing game. For those reasons, I'm going to go with the home team, Auburn War Eagle, to win 17-14.
No, I'm actually thinking it's going to be along the lines of 30 to 27 Auburn.
I'm going to say low scoring. It's going to be a dogfight. I'm going to say 17-14 Auburn.
Another reason I like Auburn in this one is I mentioned the LSU game, but Alabama beat Texas A&M and Mississippi State both by one score apiece. I can't remember the A&M Auburn score. Auburn won going away though, and they beat Mississippi State 49-10. Those two common opponents right there is another big and home field advantage. And Kerryon Johnson's a better running back. I think he's going to be the best running back that Alabama's faced this year. Jarrett Stidham might be the best quarterback they face this year as well.
But Jarrett Stidham, how is he going to play in this game? Is he ready for this prime time game? Because transfer from Baylor to Auburn, this game is serious. It means something to the Auburn fans to beat Alabama. If they don't beat Alabama, he's going to hear it. So can he step up to the plate and get the nerves and the jitters out of the stomach? If he can do that, then they'll be able to win this game. I'm still rolling Auburn to win 17-14. All right, next matchup, Clemson versus South Carolina.
I'm picking Clemson, but I don't feel good about it. I got them by a similar 30-27 score. All signs point to South Carolina upsetting Clemson this game, but going to go against my gut and stick with Clemson to win.
It's going to be a close game, but Clemson is a veteran, well-disciplined team. And I feel like they're going to make enough plays at end to win. I'm going to say a close one along the lines of 31-27.
I don't trust Will Muschamp in a big-time game like this. Not enough to bet on him.
Exactly. So we both agree with Clemson. Last matchup, Notre Dame versus Stanford. Who you got?
Gonna go with Notre Dame and another nail biter. I'm thinking 28-27, that close. Bryce Love will get his yards, so he'll get his touchdowns. Notre Dame's probably the best balanced team that Stanford will play this year. You also take a look at, again, going back to common opponents. I know it's like the second game of the year, whatever else, but USC had their way with Stanford. I believe it was a 40-something to 20-something game. I think it's 48-20 if my memory serves me correct. Notre Dame beat USC. I understand Notre Dame was at home. Neither team's the same, the last game of the year compared to week 2, week 3, or whatever else. Still a 49-14 victory. Notre Dame would win the Pac-12 this year going away, in my opinion.
I agree, but they're not in the Pac-12 conference. So let's just, excuse me. I'm going to go with Notre Dame to win this one in a nail biter. Bryce Love's going to get his yards, but I just don't trust the quarterback enough for Stanford. It's been switching off, hit and miss in there. They don't have a true quarterback. They haven't had a true quarterback since Hogan and Andrew Luck, in my opinion. So for those reasons, I'm going to say Notre Dame wins a score of 30-27. Alright, that was predictions. You can follow me on social media, Gameball, College Kickoff / Gameball NFL Endzone. That's Facebook, Twitter, all capitalized at GAMEBALL. That's Gameball, all capitalized, _ capital M, lowercase YKE. Email gck.gnfle@gmail.com. YouTube, gck.gnfletv. Like, subscribe, leave your comments below, and your social media.
I am Luke Hartnett on Twitter. Just my given name, Luke Hartnett on Facebook. My given name, Luke Hartnett on Instagram.
Alright, that will do it. Before we go, we would like to wish everybody a safe, blessed, happy Thanksgiving out there. And we'd like to wish our troops our support over there fighting for our freedom and all that for this country. And we wish they was home with their families. But the most important job is to keep us safe and keep us going, and they are protecting our freedom. So thanks to the American troops out there that are serving the country. Men and women out there, it's very hard to do to leave your families behind through these holidays, but they're doing a good job keeping us safe and keeping us going as one in the United States. So thank you for the troops, men and women out there that are serving the country. Alright, that will do it. I'm Michael Riley.
I'm Luke Hartnett.
By saying, have a safe, blessed night and be good. This is Gameball College Kickoff Podcast where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out.